Okay, the fourth step is tools. Now, when I talk about tools, I want to talk about two specific, because LinkedIn I have said, right? I want to talk about resume and I want to talk about the interview. These are the basically two tools for you to make this transition smooth. Okay? I'll tell you, when I was making the transition, no, initially I made a lot of resumes. In fact, मैंने शायद एक या दो ही resume बनाए थे, standard. And then I used to send it to every job offer that used to come across. चाहे वो naukri.com में हो, चाहे somebody whom I knew he was in the corporate, तो मैं सबको वही देता था. And guess what? Nothing happened. कुछ नहीं आया. Right? No jobs. 4-5 weeks, 1-2 महीने चले गए, नहीं. Then one day I went to my civilian friend, my classmate, right? I showed him कि I'm applying for these jobs. What is wrong? I don't understand. क्यों नहीं आ रहा? कोई offer ही नहीं आ रहा. I mean, 20-22 साल मैंने नौकरी की है नेवी में. I'm a technical person. I got a MBA, right? I'm a MTech. But why is it that I'm not getting anything? So he read through my resume and he's saying, मुझे ही नहीं समझ आ रहा कि उसमें लिखा क्या है, right? Though my father was also in army, I have that army background, so I can understand little bit, but I'm not able to understand कि आप उसमें लिखियो क्या, चाहते क्या हो. वो बोलते हैं ना, आप चाहते क्या हो. So then I said, okay, maybe that is the reason, that was the reason why whoever was looking into, maybe they are not able to understand it. So first thing that we need to understand while making a resume is it needs to be written from the perspective of the other person. And हो सकता है, I think majority of case में हो सकता है that whoever is reading it may not be a Fauji, right? वो civilian हो सकता है. Now civilian here is anybody who is not a Fauji. In military language it is called civilian, right? So I hope other people will understand, right? Civilian हम उनको कहते हैं जो फौजी नहीं है. एक लिंगो है जो फौज में यूज किया जाता है. So please take it from that point of view. So always think from the point of view of the people who are reading it. आपने बहुत अच्छा बनाया है, लेकिन if the other person cannot understand what you have written, maybe उसमें काफी military jargons है, या उसका टेम्पलेट ऐसा है कि वो इंडस्ट्री में तो कोई यूज करता ही नहीं है, तो ये पता नहीं कहाँ से रिज्यूमे का टेम्पलेट. बिकॉज आई डू गेट सम टेम्पलेट रिज्यूमे जहाँ की वो मतलब कोई और ही देखा नहीं. इफ यू सी एनी कॉर्पोरेट रिज्यूमे यू विल नॉट फाइंड दैट. तो हो सकता है शायद वो किसी ने सर्कुलेट किया हो और फिर हमने उसी को एक टेम्पलेट बना के उसी में अपना एक्सपीरियंस डाल के दैट वी आर यूजिंग इट, राइट? So it should not be that. So whatever is the industry accepted template, that particular should be used. Starting from ऊपर आपका नाम, फिर हेडलाइन, एंड हेडलाइन में one should mention कि कौन से सेक्टर देख रहे हैं. आर यू लुकिंग आफ्टर प्रोक्योरमेंट, इन्वेंटरी मैनेजमेंट, कॉन्ट्रैक्ट मैनेजमेंट, वेयर हाउसिंग में जाना चाहते हो, या आपका साइबर सिक्योरिटी, सिक्योरिटी इन्वेस्टिगेशन, ओके, वहाँ उस साइड जाना चाहते हो. So by looking at the top only, people should be able to make out कि okay, this particular person actually looking towards this side. चाहे अगर आपका दोस्त भी आपको हेल्प करना चाहे तो you should know कि आपको किस पर्टिकुलर वर्टिकल में भेजना है, right? Suppose he is in Wipro. Wipro has got admin also. Wipro may have got supply chain also, procurement also, security also, IT also, right? But if he doesn't know, क्योंकि आपने तो, because as a Fauji we have got experience in every sector, right? Technical है, non-technical, inventory है, operation है, HR है, सब कुछ किया हमने. बट जब उसके पास रिज्यूमे में जाता है, he doesn't understand कि आपको डाले कौन से, मतलब किसको कौन से पोस्ट के लिए रेफर करूं मैं. तो वो कंफ्यूजन जो है, it should not percolate to that. So we should help the other person to take that decision faster. कि this is what I want. I want to, though I have got so many other experience, but supply chain is my forte now, and that is the place where I want to go. And please help me, to connect to people in the supply chain, or people in the procurement, or people in the logistic domain. Right. So it will basically happen from that side. Okay. Now, I read somewhere, 70 to 80% of the resume actually gets screened out even before it reaches the human eye. हो सकता है application tracking system की वजह से हो सकता है because of this jargon that we write, the other person cannot understand. हो सकता है that is too long, 4-5 पेज है, तो बोला यार ये तो बहुत ही ज्यादा कौन पढ़ेगा, 4-5 पेज तो इतनी बड़ी गाथा है, तो I don't have time to read. Maybe possible, right? Because when we write our resume, हम बहुत अटैच हो जाते हैं हर एक चीज से। अरे ये प्रोजेक्ट तो मैंने 1 साल लगाया था अपने लाइफ का या 1.5 साल लगाया था, तो इसको कैसे हटा सकता हूँ। बट इफ इट इज नॉट रिलेटेड विद द जॉब, it is not as per the KRA of the job that we are going for, then it does not require to be there, right? वो हमें खुद डिसाइड करना पड़ेगा, एंड वी हैव टू रिमूव दोस टास्क व्हिच इज नॉट रिलेटेड विद दैट। एंड सिमिलरली वी हैव टू रिमूव मे बी दो सर्टिफिकेशंस जो हमने किए हैं। हो सकता है बिकॉज फौज में हमको काफी प्रोग्राम, काफी ट्रेनिंग की जाती है, कराई जाती है, हो सकता है वो रिलेटेड हमने यहाँ पर 10 लिख दिया है, हो सकता है उसमें सिर्फ 3 ही रिक्वायर्ड है, राइट? तो बाकी 7 आर एक्चुअली जस्ट ऑक्यूपाइंग दिस स्पेस without serving any purpose, right? So we need to see that. तो एक पर्टिकुलर जॉब के लिए एज आई सेड, अब कितने एप्लीकेशन आ सकते हैं, 1000 आ सकते हैं एक एप्लीकेशन जॉब के लिए, बट फाइनली हाउ मेनी पीपल विल बी कॉल्ड फॉर द इंटरव्यू? मे बी 4 or 5, एंड उसमें से एक को, राइट? सो कंपटीशन इज डेफिनेटली देयर, राइट? बट इफ वी डू नॉट लुक इनटू दिस, तो हमारे लिए कंपटीशन और भी स्टिफ बन जाता है, और भी स्टिफ बन जाता है, राइट? सो फर्स्ट, let's say tip is this is generic resume will not work. Look at the resume, that is sorry, job description, that job is which is open. See what are the key experiences, what are the key important keywords that is required, what kind of experience they are looking for, कौन सा skill set इनको चाहिए, कौन सा course, कौन सा program, then only highlight those. It may be less, कोई problem नहीं है, but it is to the point, right? People will read it fast and they'll make their decision fast, इसको in है out है, rather than searching those 3 or 4 points in those 15 points which you have written over 4 pages, right? तो आपको लगेगा कि मैंने काफी मेहनत किया है, डेफिनेटली मेहनत किया है, right? But it may not get you the result, right? So it may not get you the result. So that's what I'm trying to say, right? And when we write the again I'm talking from the experience that I see when I talk to people, when I review so many resumes, like people वहाँ क्या लिखेंगे, I was responsible for, like they'll say, I was responsible for procurement of IT equipment for the unit. वो ठीक है, right? That's what the job which you did. But the thing is, if you write only this much, then somebody as an employer, he or she will think, okay, that was your job, right? You did that and you got paid for it. I mean, इसमें ऐसी बड़ी बात क्या है? अगर मिस्टर ए मिस्टर बी भी आपकी जगह पे होता तो you would have done the same thing. So how are you different from the other person, right? So there's a best practices of writing these points where we call it कि आप action verb use कीजिए, आप quantification कीजिए, आप achievement oriented impact दिखाइए कि what happened, what you did and what happened because of the action that you took. For example, अब इसी में instead of saying, I was responsible for procurement of IT equipment for the unit or for the organization, if I can say, manage the procurement of IT assets worth, some dash lakhs or crores, oversaw from the tender formulation, let's say, to the negotiation, right, to delivery, and saved maybe 2% of cost or 3% of cost. So, वहां पर क्या, I saw the activities, right? I saw some figures, some numbers, and I saw the impact of the result, which was got because you did some action. And that's what people are looking for. Otherwise, काम तो सभी करते हैं ना, काम तो सभी करते हैं, right? But these are the things which will make one person different from the other. The tools I wanted to cover over the interview also. Now, interview, what happens is most of the time we feel कि यार interview अपने बारे में तो बताना है, right? So people don't prepare accordingly, right? People would have done the thing, but क्या होता है, interview is one thing which I feel, YouTube देखने से या पढ़ने से you will not become an expert. You will become an expert only by practicing it, by maybe practicing it with someone, ask the question and give the answer yourself. Make some framework, वो कहता है ना, star framework, where you, whenever any question is asked to you, whether it is related with a situational question, right? You try to say, okay, what was the situation, what was the task, what were the activities you did, and what was the result that was achieved. Okay, what was the result that was achieved? So from that point of view, right? और ये सब हमने पहले किया हुआ है. Only thing is it needs to be formulated in this particular sense, because जो हमारे एम्प्लॉयर हैं, जो whoever is taking the interview, they are actually expecting these kind of answer because बाकी लोग इसी तरीके से आंसर करके गए हैं आपसे पहले जो इंटरव्यू के लिए आए हैं, right? And if you do not answer in that format or that template, then people say कि शायद इसने उतना तैयारी नहीं किया है, right? It might actually showcase that part कि maybe he is actually not worked, okay, or not done his or her groundwork with respect to the interview. And people say just I think within 60 to 90 seconds, the person who is doing the interview actually makes his or her mind कि यार इसको हमको लेना है कि नहीं है. Is that correct? Right? We all form opinions, right? We all form opinions. उसके बाद तो just basically to justify कि हाँ, how correct was my opinion or my intuition. So we do all that. We are all human, right? Maybe we are sitting this side of the table or we are sitting that side. आज हम इंटरव्यू देने जा रहे हैं, but once we reach to that particular place, next year we might be interviewing someone, right? So it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time, right? So for example, how do we use a star framework? I can just give you an example. Let's say you can say, for example, situation, right? Annual inspection aa rahi hai. Now any Fauji will understand annual inspection क्या होती है. And let's say your responsibility was to ensure कि आपके जो यूनिट का है और ऑर्गेनाइजेशन का IT लैब है उसको अपग्रेड करना है, right? So you can say annual inspection was there. My responsibility was basically to upgrade the IT lab, for which what you did. तो आपने shortlisting of vendor की, maybe identification of the best equipment, right? And then you made the tender, right? Floated the tender, then technical evaluation, then maybe negotiation, maybe delivery, right? Then maybe payments, okay? And then maybe commissioning of those equipment that you got in record time, maybe 2 months or 3 months, whatever. So these basically showcase end to end. ये star framework पूरा use करके आपको interview के लिए help करता है. And this we need to practice, right? We need to practice. We need to see job description में क्या लिखा है, what is the job description, what was my experience, and how can I translate, how can I relate कि मैंने जो ये काम किया है यहाँ पर इसको मैं कैसे यूज कर सकता हूँ. चाहे वो मेरा इन्वेंट्री मैनेजमेंट का एक्सपीरियंस हो, चाहे मेरा IT ऑडिट का एक्सपीरियंस हो, चाहे मेरा सिक्योरिटी का इंस्पेक्शन एक्सपीरियंस हो, राइट? एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग कैन बी ट्रांसलेटेड. So how do I translate so that I can show that yes, I do have experience in either managing the people, right, or upgrading some particular equipment, right? So that.